Hi there, everyone. Hope you are having a great day. I'm here with one of the participants from the Lawathi Hackathon here in Cape Town. So, tell us about yourself.
So my name is Phelelani. I'm a bioinformaticist at the University of the Witwatersrand with the Sydney Brenner Institute for Molecular Biosciences. So I mainly work on next generation sequencing data, workflows, and mostly everything bioinformatics really. Um, so yeah, I don't know if there's
Okay,
yeah.
so tell us about what type of data do you work with? Is it more analysis of pathogens, human data, or what sort of downstream analysis do you do as a bioinformatician?
So, in terms of the type of data that I work with, so at the moment it's mostly human, mostly whole exome sequencing data, whole genome sequencing data, but I also do work with small pathogen data as well, like bacteria, nematodes as well, doing assembly and annotation. So it's mostly really anything bioinformatic related, depending on what other researchers are working on. So we just try to meet their needs and yeah, whatever it is that they're working on.
Okay, and then tell us about your sort of career. How did you become a bioinformatician? What did you study? Was there someone that sort of pushed you towards this field of science?
Yeah. Yeah, so I got introduced to bioinformatics when I was doing my third year. So we had a bioinformatics module that was running for human genetics that when I was studying. And yeah, I sort of fell in love with it. And then when I was doing my honors in biochemistry, that is where I actually started falling out of love with the lab work because my undergrad was in genetics and biochemistry, so most of the time it would be lab work. But I sort of fell out of love with the lab and started leaning towards the the bioinformatics and computer related work because even my honors project was more computer based. We were looking at code analysis, looking at the important concept in protein structure and folding. And then there was an advertisement that came out at the University of Pretoria for a master's program. And that is when I sort of contacted for Hubert at that time. And yeah, and then that's where I actually started learning about bioinformatics. And then I did my master's with the University of Pretoria. And then when I finished my master's, I started working for Wits University with the Sydney Brenner Institute for Molecular Biosciences. And yeah, from there, never really looked back from there.
Okay, so Lani, you sort of come from a more biology background, as I'm understanding. So it's more sort of lab work, understanding the biology, and then sort of you slowly shifted towards the computational biology aspect. Now it's more programming, coding, or syntax. You have to really be in with the digital environment. And I think a lot of people find that intimidating and it's very confusing because you have these small codes that you have to type in a box.
Yeah.
So, can you just share some of your challenges? What helped you to overcome those challenges to learn coding languages?
So for me, because I've always been like a person who's really interested in computers, computer science, because that was actually my sort of dream when I left high school. I wanted to go IT, computer science.
Oh,
But I couldn't really because yeah, I failed maths, so I couldn't do computer science. So my sort of backup plan was biochemistry and genetics. That's how I started my undergrad. But because I had that love for computers, so I never really found it as much of a challenge. But I sort of enjoyed it in a way.
okay.
Yeah, so even when I started programming, I wasn't really that intimidated. It was like I was really curious, like how do you go from typing a command to getting an output? So I think that really helped me to become the sort of bioinformaticist I am today because of that curiosity in terms of learning code, programming. So yeah, a lot of people that I meet like these days, whenever I'm teaching, they get sort of intimidated by the screen we're talking about. And I always tell them that you shouldn't be intimidated. It takes some time, to learn like the basic commands that we use. But after some time, if you really are curious and you really do enjoy the programming part of it, it becomes fun.
So you pick it up and you get used to it.
Yeah, yeah. So for me, it's always been fun. Even learning a new language, it's always like a fun challenge for me. That it
Yeah, I mean, you make a good point. You have to be exposed to these sort of technology and sort of skill set before you're able to decide whether or not that you are capable of learning it, be able to adapt to it, and things like that. And then, as a bioinformatician, during the workshop, we have learned there's many elements to it, right? So there's the data science side where you need to store data, then you need to sort of share data, and then when you come to the downstream analysis, there's where you actually type the syntax and code and do your workflows or develop your own workflows to analyze the data. Or if you are sort of more less to the computational aspect, there's tools like Galaxy, Terra, where you just upload your data, click, and you get your result. So for those people who want to get into the field of bioinformatics, would you share some of your insight or advice for them?
So I would say, so based on my experience, so when I started with bioinformatics, it was more of focusing on sort of one program.
Okay.
So my master's project was looking at malaria and the trackability of the proteins. So it
Okay.
was more protein focused.
Right.
And that creation of scripts like Python scripts every now and then. But I think as I grew and as I progressed in my career, from doing my PhD, as well as helping other people as well. And now there's a lot of work that I get involved with workflows, development of workflows and so on. You tend not to focus on only one sort of programming language, because with Nextcloud you get to sort of string together all these different tools, applications, depending on what's available out there. So you get to learn not just one programming language, but many different programming languages. Like, for example, this hackathon that we are on right now, I've had no background in basket and deployment and so on, but right now I took it as a challenge, and I'm actually having a bit of fun. Learning a new tool, learning a new way of doing different things. So yeah, the advice that I would give is like just throw yourself out there, try and enjoy. It is a bit fun, depending on how you look at it.
Okay, so I mean, you spoke to us about Nextflow, and there's different other tools like Conda, there's SnakeMake, and now there's West Coast, which is another tool that. Why are there so many of these tools? Are there, significant differences? Why can't we just have, Windows and Microsoft Office and everybody just use those? Why are there so many of these tools, and why need to learn all of these things?
I guess they cater to different people and different problems that we have at that time. You have SnakeMake. SnakeMake is Python based.
Okay.
Nextflow is Groovy / Java based. So in a way, they may be from different platforms or use a different engine in the background, but they do
Okay.
sort of do similar kind of job.
Okay.
But then based on the platform that you're working on, one might prefer to use SnakeMake, one might prefer to use Nextflow.
Okay.
It all depends on which one you prefer. But yes, I get your point. Why can't we just have one that just does everything? And to be honest, I don't think that would ever be possible because,
Okay.
I mean, we work on different platforms, we work with different people, other people prefer using this. I mean, this might be better than the other one. So it's a matter of preference, I guess,
Okay.
and also the availability of the tool,
Right.
the platform that you're working on.
Yes, sir.
So yeah, it just depends on the problem that you have.
So, I mean, you have been doing this many, many years and you have much experience. So, let's just, if we can sort of anchor somewhere for our audience, if they have no experience in bioinformatics, would suggest some tools for them to sort of get started, give them some advice in terms of how to become competent?
So my one thing when it comes to programming is yes, the syntax is different, but the concept behind it is pretty much the same.
Oh,
So if you can learn one programming language, and for me, that one is usually Python. Python,
okay.
it's easy to, how can I say, to sort of apply Python concept on another programming language and a different one. So long as you have that basic knowledge of how a, say for example, a loop works, how a while statement works, it's pretty much the same with all the other programming languages. It's just the
Okay.
syntax that sort of changes. So if you can get the concept using like the most basic or the widely used programming language, you can basically apply it to any tools.
Yeah, so I think you have said it correctly there, where you need to learn some fundamental rules.
Yes.
And once you have learned those, concept or the fundamentals, then the skills that you have with Python sort of can be translated to R and to other programming languages. That's a really good point. So I think as we come to the end of this interview, I have two last questions for you. So the second last question is, we sort of live in this digital age now, the fourth industrial revolution. There's a lot of new technologies, a lot of hype around AI, where there's constant change, and I mean AI is really powerful. From your perspective, how do you think this is going to change and influence the work that you do?
Um, for one, it's going to make me very lazy because I mean, I think that most people nowadays with AI, you just go to ChatGPT or Gemini, whatever,
Okay,
you
you
just
are.
post a question, it comes back with code for you. Um, I feel like it's gonna make a lot of people very lazy,
Okay.
but I feel like it can also shift our field from what it is now to, I don't know, maybe magnitudes better than what it would be with the help of AI, so long
Oh,
as we use it responsibly.
sure.
You can't just go to ChatGPT and ask for code to do something and then just take and paste because you still have to. I mean, we work with big data sets and it's very easy to make one tiny mistake. So you can't just copy a code and
Oh,
paste it and then
right.
believe that just because ChatGPT suggested it, it's going to work. So you still have to go back and validate whatever output that you got from
Understand.
these AI tools. I mean, it has the ability to change how we do work, but it can also cause a lot of harm.
Sure.
But then we just have to be able to, use it with what's the word?
Caution.
With caution,
Sir.
and be responsible about it as well. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, no, I think you're absolutely right there. I mean, the way you're explaining it, it is a tool, it's a powerful tool. However, there are the negative connotation to it, right? I mean, we've seen this with social media. People spending too much time because of the algorithm that keep them busy. We don't want that to happen with AI.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think the last question I really have for you is, someone who's as experienced as you are. You have been through, challenges, journeys, becoming a bioinformatician. what are your advice for the next generation of scientists? Those people who are coming out of high school, going to university, or someone who's, in university, they don't really know what the future holds. How do they position themselves? What advice do you give them so they can sort of really accelerate their career, whether it's in science or IT or computers?
Yeah. I would say, with respect to the field that I'm in, bioinformatics, and as you know, it encompasses a lot of different disciplines.
Yes.
Mathematics, statistics,
Yeah.
programming, computer science,
Sure.
genetics. There's so many of them. And what bioinformatics tries to do is to bring all of those different disciplines together,
Yes.
trying to understand, life, diseases, and so on. So I would say if you are interested in bioinformatics, it's not a matter of, oh no, I don't want to do stats anymore. I'm just going to drop it and go and do bioinformatics. It's okay to continue with what you are passionate about right now, because in a way it will still come back. It will still come back to when you do bioinformatics. I still go back to my genetics from undergrad and the stuff that I'm doing right now, and trying to understand diseases as well. It's yeah, I don't know how to put it, but yeah, the discipline that you are in, or whatever curiosity you're coming out from high school with, you can still use it in this field, because we're bringing together many different disciplines in trying to understand these different diseases of lifestyles.
Yeah, so I think as you eloquently put, there's new knowledge, new technologies emerging. The best thing is, put yourself out there, stay curious, as you said, and obviously be able to adapt this new technology. Don't be afraid of AI. Test it out, and as you said, use it responsibility. Look for existing frameworks or mentors that can help you. I mean, you have, taught and given much of your knowledge around this topic to, people coming to you. So I think that's really so really important. We need to develop this culture of open science and running workshops like this to help disseminate the knowledge in education.
Yeah, no, definitely, definitely.
Okay, great. Thank you very much for your time, sir.
Thank you so much for having me.